Bad breed or bad rap? Some real answers about pit bulls.
And it's failed 3 times, but is the 4th time a charm? The texting and driving bill back in the spotlight at the Capitol. KVUE News at 6 starts now.
This is KVUE News at 6.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Rush.
And I'm Quita Culpepper. We will get to those stories in just a moment, but first, new questions tonight about whether a criminal charge against an Austin police officer accused of faking his own death and fleeing the country will hold up in court.
This comes as the case against Coleman Martin is facing its first court setting in Travis County as early as Wednesday. Tony Plohetsky has been following this case. He joins us now with what he's learning.
Mike and Quita, it was pretty salacious, a statewide search for a missing police officer, only to learn that he was accused of faking his own death and fleeing to Mexico. His actions led to a misdemeanor charge against him, but tonight there are questions about the strength of that case. Officer Martin is charged with false report. Under Texas law, a person commits that crime if they knowingly make a report to law enforcement that will trigger a police response. But there's a potential problem. Legal experts following the case point out that Martin didn't actually make the report. Instead, he's accused of sending an email to a woman who is not identified in court documents about his plan to flee the country. According to an arrest affidavit, Martin's email to the woman said he had staged the scene by parking his vehicle by a body of water near the U.S. border with Mexico. He then rode a bicycle for about 8 miles to a convenience store and took a taxi to the border and then a bus further into Mexico, according to the email described in the affidavit. I talked today with Travis County Attorney David Escamilla, whose office is prosecuting the case. He said he and other prosecutors are reviewing the case and will decide soon what to do next. Meanwhile, Officer Martin's lawyer tells me that she is still awaiting evidence, if there is any, in the case, but that Officer Martin needs the community's support, she says, not a criminal charge against him. Mike and Quita.
Today at the 85th Texas Legislature, the issue of texting while driving is back in the spotlight. A Senate committee discussing the House bill to ban phones behind the wheel.
KVUE political reporter Ashley Godot is live at the Capitol. And Ashley, the Senate wants to make some changes to this bill.
Yeah, Mike and Quita, as you know, this is the 4th session that the House has passed a bill to ban texting while driving, but it's a harder sell in the Senate. Senator Judith Zaffirini has been working on a ban for 10 years. This session, she's filed the Senate version of House Bill 62 and today presented the version that's already passed the House to the Senate Committee on State Affairs. Here's what she said to one senator who's on the fence about the issue.
We know that 101 cities in Texas have some sort of ordinance. They all vary. And the problem is, say you're driving from your hometown to Austin. How many cities have different ordinances? And there's no law or ordinance in between those cities.
That's right.
So this would create a statewide standard.
Okay.
And that truly would save lives.
Senator Zaffirini says there are 21 senators on board to pass a ban, but to get there, she had to make a few changes to the bill. Her version removes an amendment related to the cost of the ticket so that court costs and fees are not included in the total fine. A driver can only be issued a ticket if they are texting in the presence or view of an officer. If someone is killed or seriously injured by someone texting, the driver is subject to a Class A misdemeanor offense. Drivers will be allowed to use their phones for GPS, navigation apps, or to play music. And this state law would preempt all city ordinances in regards to texting. And that's really important for people here in Austin because while the city has a hands-free ordinance, which would still be on the books, a driver will be allowed to use their GPS or play music if this bill becomes law, because regulation for those apps are in the bill. But texting, still out of the question. Now, the committee didn't vote on the bill today, but could later this week. Live at the Capitol, Ashley Godot, KVUE News.
Senate Bill 7, the so-called Pass the Trash bill, is on its way to the governor's desk tonight. The Senate gave it final approval today. The bill aims to stop the practice of passing teachers who have inappropriate relationships with students from district to district. The measure creates a database to track them and adds criminal penalties for administrators who don't report teacher misconduct.
Employees at more than 100,000 companies are reporting cyber chaos after a global attack.
Hackers are locking people out of their computers and then demanding a ransom. The extortion scheme is spread across 150 countries.
Nicole Rosales spoke with a senior tech officer. She joins us in the newsroom now with what you need to look out for. So, Nicole, this can really happen to anyone.
Quita, it really can. I spoke to Kevin Colton. He's the Chief Technology Officer at Austin Coding Academy. He says last month an unknown source leaked this malicious software developed by the NSA. So when companies like Microsoft saw their operating systems could be compromised, they released updates. The problem is not everyone updates their system. So the attack comes in through a phishing scam, an email from someone you think you know, asking you to download an attachment. Once you click on it, it downloads onto your computer. It will then encrypt your system or password protect your system. That's when a message will pop up telling you you can't access your files unless you make an online payment. In many cases, the source behind the attack is demanding around $300 or more to unlock the computer. So what can you do?
The general advice right now is don't pay, right? You know, don't pay, don't make this a business idea for these kind of people who do this. And also, you're not guaranteed to decrypt your data either.
There are ways that you can protect yourself from becoming a victim. We have a few key points that you need to make into habits. So always run your system and security updates. They need to fill any security holes that your computer may have. Next, don't click on any attachments you're unsure of. It's the best way to completely avoid attacks. And finally, make sure to regularly update or back up your computer. Put your data on an external hard drive or upload it to a cloud storage service. Now, if your computer does become infected, Colton says first report it to the authorities, then reformat the computer to wipe it clean, reinstall the software as well, and if you don't know how to do it, take it to a specialist. And of course, don't forget to change your passwords and emails to other accounts. Quita.
Thanks a lot. Well, not too long ago, thousands of people gathered at the U.S. Capitol to honor fallen police officers for their services.
Among those recognized, Austin police officer Amir Abdul Khalik, who died after being hit while escorting a funeral procession back in September. The 5 Dallas officers who were shot and killed in an ambush were also honored. President Trump was among today's speakers. He says America stands strong with our men and women in blue.
I want you to know that my administration is determined, totally determined, to restore law and order and justice for all Americans, and we're going to do it quickly.
The memorial started last night. Every officer who was killed in the line of duty had their name read out loud, 394 in total.
Leading the families into that memorial today was the Austin Police Department's bagpipes team. They won the 2017 Emergency Services Pipes and Drums competition. They'll be bringing that trophy home from D.C. in the next few days.
A historic downtown Austin building is getting a facelift. The city's Parks and Trail Foundation is funding a $450,000 study for the future redevelopment of the Seaholm waterfront. Part of that is the Seaholm intake structure, which sits on Lady Bird Lake. It used to pump water to and from the old Seaholm power plant. But once that plant shut down, the building was abandoned. Now city leaders are asking for the community's help to come up with ideas for improvements.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something on the waterfront. So this building isn't going to get changed structurally all that much, but the innards of it and how we program it and how we use it as a public space are what we're going to try and figure out. But just hope that we can get people in the space on a daily basis as opposed to a rundown, abandoned building.
The study area will be between Pfluger Bridge and Shoal Creek and from the lake's edge to Cesar Chavez. That's 3 acres of parkland included. Over the next several months, public meetings and online platforms will be available. The first phases are set to begin in a couple of weeks and should be completed this fall.
Probably can't tell by this look outside right now, but rain and storm chances are expected to increase later this week.
And for more on that, Albert Ramon is in our storm center. Hey, Albert.
Hi there, Quita and Mike. Yeah, a little bit of a weather pattern shift over the next couple of days. Coming out of just a perfect weekend, you may have noticed the humidity beginning to tick up today. Now, the radar's quiet at the moment. We've got temperatures mid to upper 80s in most spots. The hot spot is Llano right now at 90 degrees. High pressure over the state over the weekend has now shifted eastward, funneling in more moisture off the Gulf of Mexico. So we'll look to introduce some rain chances tomorrow night into Wednesday morning's rush hour. Thunderstorm chances on Thursday, and those chances of rain will linger even into the upcoming weekend. So that's that shift in the weather pattern we were talking about. We'll get into it a little bit more detail hour by hour coming up.
Thanks, Albert.